Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I've got a fun Chop It Up inspired project using 6x6 paper pads. Today's paper collection I'm going to be using is the Mintay Christmas Blessings, and I have this 6x6 paper pad along with the die cut ephemera. So what's great about today's video is that I will be sharing a PDF for A2 card layouts for all of the cards that I make in today's video. You'll find that in the description box down below. So let's get into making these cards. I'm going to make 8 A2 size cards using only 4 pieces of the beautiful Mintay pattern paper. So I went ahead and selected 4 papers. So you'll get 2 cards out of each of the 6x6 paper here. I also decided to pull in some sort of metallic cardstock. I found this at my local dollar store and it was like $3 and it's just beautiful. It has all these gorgeous tones of silver foil and sort of greeny teal foil. And there are a couple of satin sheets. There's a mint satin and a silver satin. So I'm going to use those 2 colors and I'm going to start cutting up my pattern paper. So my first sheet I'm going to cut in half at 3 inches. And then I'm going to turn that piece and cut it down to 5.5 inches. I'll do that for both pieces. And I'm going to lay this on my card. I'm just figuring out if I want it on the left or the right. And I think I'm going to put it on the right. And then I'm going to grab some of that silver foil cardstock and I'm going to cut 2 pieces that measure 1 by 5.5 inches. So 1 piece for each card. And I'll get that lined up onto the side. And I do show a little bit of that white card base on the left, and I like that. I think it just adds a little bit of interest. Next, I'm going to cut a couple of little flag banners, and these measure about 1 by 1/2 inch. And I'm just going to cut a little banner into this piece of cardstock, just using one of those scraps. And I'm using the opposite side of this paper because it coordinates together nicely and it'll just give us a nice, interesting look. And I'll pop those into the top corner of the card. And there's our first layout done. Beautiful. All right, card layout number 2. I'm going to cut this in half at 3 inches once again. And then I'm going to turn and cut at 4.25. So I'll cut both pieces like that. And then I'll grab the satin mint cardstock. It's almost got like a teal sort of look to it. And I'm going to cut a layer that's 3.25 by 4.5. And I'll cut 2 of those, of course. And this is what I originally was going to do. I was just going to layer these 2 pieces like this. And then when I set it on my card, it kind of shifted and I really liked that look. So when I started gluing this down, I thought, you know what? I'm going to lay it down like this and see what it looks like. Just kind of angle and then put this piece straight. And I really love that look. I love that sort of offset look. And it was an accident, but it turned out to be a happy accident. So I'm going to glue these panels down just like that. And then there we go. Card layout number 2 is complete. This is really pretty so far. Super quick and simple. Moving on to card layout number 3, I decided I wanted to create sort of a window. I cut some of that satin foil cardstock down to 4 by 5.25. One of them I ended up kind of messing up the measurements, but the intention was to cut it at 4 by 5.25. And then I wanted to cut out little squares that measure 1.75 by 1.75. And you'll need 4 squares for each card. So I ended up cutting 8 squares total, and I had a little tiny scrap left over. And I'll use that scrap later on in my next card. I got all of these cut, and now it's time to just line them up onto that foil card. I did end up kind of messing up the patterns a little bit and having some go the wrong way, but it's okay. It turned out beautiful. I just layered up those squares into the top of that satin cardstock, glued everything down, and then glued it to my card base. And then we have card layout number 3 complete. All right, moving on to the last card layout. I want a piece of cardstock that measures 4.25 by 4.25. What I'm going to do here is cut this in half to be a perfect triangle that it's going to fit across the corner of my cards. So I'm just lining up the corners diagonally in my trimmer and cutting that piece right in half, and then I'll get 2 cards out of this little piece of paper. I decided to adhere this down to the bottom right of the card base. You could flip it and do it on the top, but I like it at the bottom here. And then I cut 2 half-inch strips around 6 inches, half inch by 6 inches. I cut one satin silver and one satin mint and just layered them on top of each other just to finish off that pattern paper to make it look, more finished. Now I grabbed a bunch of little scraps and I made 3 banners of all different sizes. So I have longer, a wider, a shorter, just to layer up to make this sort of layered banner pattern in the top left corner. And I really love the way that looks. So all of these papers coordinate together beautifully, and we got some gorgeous snowflakes on here. So here are our 4 card designs, quick and simple. And as I mentioned, you'll find that PDF with all the measurements for these panels in the description down below. Now I want to decorate these cards, just something simple. I grabbed the die cut ephemera here and I just sifted through this pack and found an element that I think looked nice on each card. So I just took my time, played around with different things. I'm not going to include that whole process. That part took longer than anything else in this video. So let's have a look at everything that I created here. I popped all of that ephemera on to foam squares to give it a nice little lift and dimension. And then that was it. I created 8 beautiful cards. All that's missing is a sentiment. I can come back and add this at another time, but I just didn't want to do any stamping or anything right now. So I'm just going to leave these as is. And that's going to be it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed today's 6x6 project. Don't forget, in the description box down below, you'll find that PDF that you can download for free. Coming up on screen are some videos I think you may enjoy. Have yourself a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!